Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. I'm your host, founder of Voices for Voices, Justin Allen Hayes. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you're watching, whether you're listening, whether you're here in the United States or you're somewhere outside the United States. We're pushing 80 countries, getting close to 800 cities. It's really it's mind-blowing, it's humbling, and to know that we're having an impact and getting some excellent feedback, and knowing that people as high up as our President Trump is aware of Voices for Voices with what we're doing, and it's really humbling to even have, again, a second or two of his time or his team's time to even know Voices for Voices is just incredible. So this particular episode, we are doing we're going to do an audio call with our guest, and we are going to dive into three areas. First, we're going to dive into, as we have and will continue to do, we're going to talk about some difficult topics, and so just to kind of give you a heads up that we're going to be going into that those tough subjects and that in this particular episode. So first, we're going to talk about cults. Then we're going to be talking about brainwashing, and then that's going to lead into our third pillar of this particular episode, police misconduct. And so our guest is going to help weave all that together. Our guest coming to us via the phone is prior guest and now current guest, David Solomon. David, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Can you get us started with why you felt it was important to come on and talk about these topics, starting with cults?
Honestly, it stems from everything going on in my town, and I was actually a member of one of the churches that was a cult, and I got out. Honestly, I thought I was the only one, and then I talked to someone yesterday and found out that they're up there, and it really opened my eyes to talk about this a little bit for their sake. So I wanted to share a little bit about how dangerous cults can be, and just try to open eyes with that in new ways. And so that's why I felt really just compelled to talk about it, because there's a lot of victims still out there that think they're the only ones.
Can you start off just a broad definition, your understanding of what a cult is from a definition standpoint, and then jump in?
Yeah, well, this particular type of cult likes to pull people in at a very young age, and they like to seclude you from your parent. And what that means, I'll tell you how I was brought in. I was in my youth, and they have all these big youth programs, and they attract the youth. They call them youth nights, Wednesdays, Saturdays, Fridays, and Thursdays. So like things are just happening. And the funny thing though is you won't find any parents there, except for maybe someone that's 20 years old.
Oh.
And so they attract the youth that way, and they hook them and then they get their social media information, and then they start to weave in a little bit at a time, basically every week, of their doctrine. And I'll give you an example. The first time I went, they gave me a flyer, and they were like, what's your email and what's your phone number and where do you live? And it seems kind of interesting and like sort of harmless. And then they go, oh yeah, we want to, drive by and check in on you and fellowship with you, and maybe you can get plugged in, and that's harmless. And then it gets a little more unique. How about you come for one of our studies, and oh, you're a homeschooler or you're in high school? Well, we can help graduate you. Oh, I got friends in the school. And it's a very attractive proposition when someone says, I can graduate you. All you got to do is lead worship, and, I can help you graduate. I'll make some calls. And I think that's one thing that really hooks people to this cult is education. And they have a lot of power with education. And then they start turning the child against the parent and say, oh, well, God is working in you, but your parent is spiritually unwell. And so I think we need to take custody of you.
Well.
And so that's what we call phase 2. And then phase 3 is then that they brainwash the person so bad they never want to see their parent again. And one major reason why they justify the parent needs to separate is they don't believe in sickness at all. They believe that sickness is of the devil. Like my mom, when she had cancer, they believed that she was doing something wrong and she didn't have enough faith, so God was punishing her for doing something evil and wicked. And that wasn't the case. And so, that's a dangerous moment for sure. And so it takes a long time for people to realize they're in a cult once they're in their educational system, and once they think they're doing something really cool and go into youth group, but then their mom or their dad gets sick and they can't see their mom or dad anymore, and church comes first, and pretty soon it creates that bridge where they use the Bible to say that church comes first before your parent. And there are kids that have taken their lives because they don't want to choose. The church that I am speaking about is called Followers of Christ in Oregon City.
And you've been given permission to talk about this, correct?
I have.
Okay, continue.
The Followers of Christ is called the baby killing cult, according to KATU.com, Chicago Times, New York Times, KGW.com, and KOIN6.com, and culteducation.com. So we're going to read this to give you a little overview. So the Followers of Christ is named one of the most dangerous cults in the United States. and is nicknamed the baby killing cult because multiple criminal allegations and investigations have been made about the church, because they do not believe in doctors and they do not believe in sickness. They believe that faith heals everything, and if you don't have enough faith, then you don't deserve to be healed. And so this is a very dangerous moment for someone like me that was caught up in it, and others. We didn't know that it was a cult. It was youth group. It was youth group, and nothing more. So it starts out as that Wednesday or Tuesday, and they give you pizza and whatever. I couldn't have pizza, but other kids did. And they give you free video games, right? They give you access to anything you want on Wednesday and Tuesday. That's video games or hanging out. They encourage running around the church, and they go crazy on their youth nights. I mean, we're throwing eggs at each other and eating spiders and snakes, and it's like an extreme youth group. And it sounds fun until the next week. The youth leader, they call him the circle youth, they go to you and they go, oh, okay, well, you were here last week. How about we connect with you at your home? Well, I just came once. Oh, that's okay. I'll just stop by. I'd love to meet your parent. Oh, okay. And, your parent doesn't have to drop you off. I can personally pick you up. Make sure that you're here on time every day. And so they get that commitment out of you really quick. And it happens so quickly, you don't know that you're in a cult till 4 weeks later when you're going every day. And then your parent is saying, well, I need you here to do chores. And your youth leader is saying, well, I need him here to do the Bible, or her. And that is a very dangerous moment, because when you do that, you cross lines. So that's why they're called this great cult, because they don't let their members go to doctors. And they get you into membership within 4 weeks of joining that youth group, and you're required to give tithe. What that means doesn't necessarily mean money. It means your time. Take me, for instance. I became worship leader, and I did the offering, and I did the music. And those were just 3 of the things I did. I taught Sunday school a few times. And so that's what they do to lure people in. And they've been guilty of letting a baby die because they would not let the baby see a doctor, nor the parent. And they've been found guilty of not letting other members see doctors because that's what they believe. And so it's a very dangerous moment.
Yeah, can you go on about you're not the only one, and how important that is for anyone that has or is currently being affected or impacted, for them to understand, as somebody who went through it with that experience?
Yeah. So they do what's called brainwashing, and they're really good at it. And brainwashing means that they will brainwash you to think that your parent is bad. And they're not. And for someone that's going through it, your parent is who raised you. Remember where you come from. They are not your parent. And that anything that is slightly evil is evil. So if someone's trying to tear you from your parent's loving on you and saying, I'm horrified at this isn't right, you should listen to them. Don't listen to someone that's only known you 4 weeks when someone's known you your whole life. And to the brainwashing, remember who you are and where you come from. Because they don't know where you come from. They want you to come from where they are, but that is not where you come from. Brainwashing is so heavy in their techniques to use on members.
How did you learn about this? Like, how did you become aware that you had been one of these children? Yeah.
How did I learn it?
No, I mean, how did, like, as we're having our conversation on this episode, how did you learn that that's what happened to be able to know to talk about this? I guess is.
Well, my mom went through it, but just recently I connected with someone else who has gone through it, and we had a very long talk about brainwashing, and it really shocked me how many victims there are out there of this. And it all goes back to these people twist the Bible. I'll give you an example. They say that they're sinless. Well, saying you're sinless is calling God a liar. Right there. Because Jesus died for our sins. That's the first verse that tears up their entire philosophy. But they believe in the extreme of what's called faith healing. So let's see. One of the verses that a majority of verses they use is, by his stripes we are healed. I don't know if you've heard that.
Can you say that again? You were breaking
Mark
up.
16, 17, and 18.
You were breaking up.
Laying hands. Oh.
Yeah.
Mark 16, 17, and 18, laying hands on the sick.
Okay.
So they really believe that. And so they twist that. But they don't understand the context of that verse. And so they'll manipulate the Bible. One of their favorite verses is in 2 Corinthians, where it talks about how we're not to sin. And another verse is, Jesus paid the price for us in every way. And they interpret that as every illness. By his stripes we are healed. And if you don't have his stripes, you don't have enough faith. So they go as far as to not believe in disabilities. They believe that's demonic.
Oh.
And so that's why they've been in criminal investigations.
Yeah. Can you, as we continue, if you're able to, can you share what, how police departments
Yeah.
around the state? So, you mentioned the state. So, I mean, you mentioned the church. Can you mention like the state, and then also, if you're able to talk about those, the retreat, the once a year.
Yeah. So with this in particular church,
Yes.
they have a strong relationship with police departments.
We're talking about the state of Oregon, so I just want to make sure our viewers and our listeners know that.
Yep, the Followers of Christ Church in Oregon City.
Correct. Okay, continue.
On Malala Avenue.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And they have a strong relationship, and let me make that a little bit more clear and clarify that. So they go as far as to throw a banquet for police departments all over the state. And they partner with other people to do it. And they make sure that they have those relationships so that their crimes are covered.
Mm.
And that's why they're not caught. And so then they get officers to go to the church or offer them, membership and money and different things. And so there's a lot of police misconduct going on. If you Google Oregon City police misconduct, there's a lot going on. I was amazed at how much is going on because of this church alone. And this is the church where everything in my life went down. Now, the other thing is they also have a strong relationship with social services.
Okay, that's important.
And so they like to alter social security numbers and or change identities. They're very big on it. They have relationships with the public school system to the point where they can pull kids out or expel them if they try to escape. And so they have a lot of power also over scholarships in colleges. I know that from experience because a friend of mine got threatened if he left. They would pull his career because he got into OSU. And they would pull his career. He was on the Oregon Ducks. So they have a lot of power that way. And they like to utilize those services. One of the head firemen goes to the church. One of the head paramedics, a hospital, even though they don't believe in sickness,
Right.
They got a hospital person there, a nurse, and a ambulance worker, which is hilarious. And so that kind of goes to show you just how twisted they are. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and you're not saying these things lightly. I mean, we understand the gravity of the terminology that's being used. So that's also important for viewers and listeners. Like these terms aren't being thrown around just willy-nilly or whatever we want to think. That these are we understand how serious what we're talking about is, in the terms that, yeah, it sounds extreme,
Right.
but if it actually is occurring, it still can sound extreme. But again, if it's occurring, which you've been given the authority to talk about this, so that brings just that whole new layer to everything. It's not just research, it's fact finding, it's having conversations and more conversations and more conversations.
That's right.
We've got about a minute and a half if you want to close us out.
I would just encourage people to look at where you come from, and really, as a Christian, look at the Word. Because they can brainwash you all you want, but the truth will always show. And the Word doesn't. Their words do. Remember, the devil can always quote Scripture, but he doesn't know it.
Any last thoughts before
I would just say use caution, and if you are in that place, get out. Don't be afraid. There is light at the end of the tunnel. And there is hope.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing so intimately about, the topics of cults and brainwashing and misconduct and things you went through, and finding that you're not alone and that others should know that they're also not alone. That by you speaking and being a guest, that this is a form of a light for somebody who may have been waiting for this time, when waiting for somebody to say something. And I think that's powerful, what you've done and what you're doing.
I appreciate that. I hope it can help someone.
Absolutely. And again, our viewers, our listeners, all of you, thank you for being with us, sticking with us. Again, some hard topics, difficult terms, some things that may sound extreme. However, it does, again, from David being given authority to talk about these topics, it shows that while there are good people, there's also people that may not be who we thought that they were. And to David's point, if you see something, say something, you're not alone. And we'd love to have you on the show so you can be another guiding light for others that have been unfortunately victims at the hands of this. So please be a voice for you or somebody in need. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. God bless.